Beautiful. Thank you, Lisa. Oh, and so we've now entered the month of February. And so we've shifted now to our next of the 12 Celtic practices for seeking the sacred. Our book is The Soul's Slow Ripening that we're using this year. And so each month is a spiritual practice. This month, it's dreaming. Last month, we did thresholds, where we're standing at the beginning of a new year. We did our Burning Bowl and Vision Quest service the first Sunday of the year, as we always do. And we've been talking about and experiencing, recognizing these thresholds that we come to in our lives that are outer and inner thresholds. They're moments of being held in suspension between what has been settling into what is and not yet stepping into what is yet to come. Thresholds, doorways, portals, and what sacred spaces those are, and how often in our modern culture we just run through them willy-nilly and don't recognize the importance of a moment of unfoldment, the seasons of our lives. And I love the fact that after thresholds, her next spiritual practice is that of dreaming. And I remember when I first got the book, I went, dreaming, that's really interesting. And then I thought about the 12 powers and the power of imagination. And dreams take us into this realm of imagination, this realm of deeper process, of mystical, unknown wisdom, trying to seep up in a way that we can understand and receive it. That knowledge of our souls and our spirits. Dreaming has always been a portal. We lay down our outer lives and drift into sleep, and we do a tremendous amount of processing and soul work, not just when we're awake, but when we're asleep as well, because that's where possibilities can be played with, where insights can be revealed. And they're frequently revealed and shared to us in ways that are done in symbols, in signs, in images, in words. And then it's up to us to take this gift we've received and to let the light within it shine so that we can see it and then integrate it into who we are. Dreams are magical. The dream realm is magical. The Aboriginal talk about the importance of the dream time. Dreams, you're no longer bound by time or space. Charles Fillmore said one of the surest proofs you've had that you've opened yourself to spirit is you have symbolic dreams. And we all have dreams. Sometimes people remember them and are able to remember them. Other people don't remember them at all. And there are ways that you can work with your dreams and ask that they be part of your spiritual process. As you fall asleep at night, invite insights, solutions, possibilities to reveal themselves during the night. And then when you wake up, before you do anything else, record on a piece of paper or on a tape, or really bring to mind what you had asked for insight about, and you'll be amazed at what will be there in the morning. Because while you're asleep, resting your physical body, your soul is still doing its work. In Unity, we learned that there are 3 levels of consciousness. One is our regular conscious mind. That's the one that we use when we're out and about in the world. It's what we're aware of. Consciousness, conscious of, awareness of. The other one is the subconscious. The subconscious is the things that we don't remember, that we have lost or buried or just not chosen to have an awareness of. It's remembrances perhaps from other lives, other realms. It is fears, the things that go bump in the night. It's the hopes and dreams that we thought, oh, we're not worthy, and we tuck them away. I remember when I first started doing work with the subconscious, I thought, oh, it's going to be all of the scary things that I've buried that are going to come popping back up. It's negative. And I realized those things came up, but for healing. So I didn't have to live in fear anymore. And there were all these wonderful treasures in this subconscious realm as well. Gifts and remembrances that I had forgotten that will come back up. So you've got the unconscious part that you're not aware of day by day, but that is there equally a part of you. And then the third part is the superconscious. That's the part of you that's connected to the divine all the time. It's your Christ light. It's your eternal self. Your soul is an expression of that, and it takes many different forms, I believe. But you've got this connection, this divine light that you are, that eternal spiritual being that you are, that's here for a divine reason. And that divine consciousness is always there as well. And when we pray and meditate and go into the silence, we're quieting that outer world so that that super consciousness can come down and bring us the blessings of the divine. But it's also a place where the subconscious comes up for us to do our deep soul work. And it's a place of blessing. And so as we do our soul work, we can go down into the subconscious and do the things that are ours to do, to work and to evolve. But at the same time, we can open to receive those insights and blessings from the divine right where we are, and bring those into consciousness as well. So that as we come out of prayer and meditation, we bring the gifts from the depths of our soul, and we bring the gifts from the heights of our connection with the divine, so that we can more consciously walk and be present in the world. And dreams are one of the ways we can connect to that. In the chapter, she says, in ancient times, dreams were respected as signs from God. Invitation to a calling bigger than we might imagine in our waking lives and the limits of daylight vision. I love that. We go beyond the limits of daylight vision. It's like seeing with our third eye, with our spiritual eye, becoming aware. And all through the scriptures, both in the Hebrew scriptures and in the New Testament and into the book of Revelation, all of those are filled with stories of dreams and the significance of dreams as a connection to both that subconscious and that superconscious mind, so that your world begins to have more and more meaning and you feel more connected to the divine. And your world becomes like a dreaming life, rather than separate from this inner inspiration. Because dreaming is about your sense of beingness. And then it's what do you choose to do as you manifest it. Then after you've got this dream of possibility, you can move it into visualizing, where you do conscious work around it. And okay, what do I want it to look like, and how does it feel? Because it's how it feels is what links the manifesting of visualization with the beingness of dreams. That's what links them, and then allows us to evolve and to grow. I love it when she says dreams continue to call us into ways of being that are less linear and more intuitive. If you've ever done dreams or aware of dreams, even a little bit, they are frequently not linear, but they're very intuitive. They're less goal-driven. and more open to receiving the gifts that are being offered in the moment. They speak a language that can feel confusing to our waking minds, so we must approach with reverence and hospitality. I love those two words, reverence and hospitality, welcoming them and honoring the gifts that they bring. She said, there is a grace that is offered in listening to their wisdom. We're blessed to live in modern times where that whole concept of working with the dream worlds, the dreamscapes, is something that is a very much a part of our modern culture in terms of our psychological progression and evolvement and giving meaning to our lives. Carl Jung, who's a great analyst, psychiatrist that I have studied tremendously and have great love and admiration for, includes dream work and dream interpretation as a core essence of what he does. It's the language of archetypes and the collective unconscious and our own subconscious and superconscious meeting us right where we are. And a part of the work that he would do with people, he would encourage them to encounter and welcome their dreams. And welcome is that hospitality that says, I would like to remember, let me remember that which will help and guide me, that will bring me comfort and insight. Ask, welcome a remembrance of your dreams, and that will help begin to bring little pieces. I don't always remember my dreams. Sometimes I have dreams that I find are incredibly special, and I know you've all had these too, where it doesn't feel like you're just dreaming, but you're truly doing spiritual work. I call that a lucid dream, where it is more than just a dream. It is a soul encounter that is happening between me and another, or me and the presence of the divine. You can do forgiveness work from there. I did that one time years ago. I had some forgiveness work I needed to do with someone, and there was no way we could get together. And so I'd ask in prayer to open to that. And it was in a dream that I dreamt that I went and met their person in their office, talked with them, we healed this, and then I came back and I knew I was dreaming, but at the same time, I knew something incredible had happened. And I woke up and I knew I had done deep forgiveness work and that they had received it. And that I didn't need to go find them and ask them, say, hey, do you remember that night? Did you have something happen? I knew it had happened and that it was grace, and I needed to allow them to receive it if they were open, but mine was to be willing to be the channel of forgiveness. And it changed me totally in terms of that relationship. And even the memories that that relationship held. Lucid dreaming. There are times where our dreams are really amazing portals into divine wisdom. Carl Jung talked about the importance of that, and that this is a path of discernment and understanding. There are books you can get that are books about the meaning of dream images. Books about archetypal meanings. A bear means this, a dog means this, a mountain means this, a stream means this. And all of those are helpful resources because they're collective images that we all have this intuitive sense of kind of what they mean. But the thing that I have found is the most important thing is for you to take these images into prayer and meditation and ask for them to reveal themselves. For me, this is how I approach them with reverence. Instead of trying to figure it out with my head, I invite it into my heart. And then I'll go do the research as to what do things mean. And when I have a whole file here on dreams, And this came out in 1923, and it was actually in my file. It's the New Gypsy Dream Book and Fortune Teller. And it has got the meanings of numbers and of animals and of all kinds of things in tiny, tiny print. And so there's one that I just rediscovered in my file. There are lots of big, thick books you can get on it. And it will give you that meaning and that insight. It's like working with, when you cross the path of an animal, pray and ask, what is its message for you? And then you can go look up in Animal Speak some of the meanings of it so you can deepen and integrate. But I think the essential piece is that you feel why that dream came and what gifts it has for you. I had a dream a number of years back that I'll share to give you an example of kind of how I worked with it and how you can invite dreams, particularly dreams that are ones that will really show you the presence of the divine and your own soul wisdom. I had read a couple of books by Alice Howell, who you all know became my fairy godmother. She's a Jungian analyst who also does astrology. And she had written a couple of books on Jungian archetypes and astrology, and I just thought they were wonderful. And so I wrote a letter to her, didn't even know if she was still living, through her publisher. And she called me, and she was so touched by the letter. She called, and it was actually on the winter solstice. And she called me on my cell phone. She called the house, and Lane gave her my cell number. And I said, I'm on the way to do a winter solstice service. And she said, I knew you were my kind of person. And so we arranged to talk the next day, and we became long distance friends, and she became my fairy godmother, my spiritual fairy godmother. And I was blessed at last to go to the Berkshires and to actually meet her in person. My mother and I went together, and the two of us met her there. And we got together with her one evening and one afternoon, and then the next day I went for a private reading with her. And so we met this afternoon and had tea with her, and my mother and I both just adored her. And that night, I had the most amazing dream. It was vivid. It was a lucid dream. And my mother said that she could feel, she said, I was moving around in the bed and kind of talking. And she said something was going on. Normally, I don't do that. And I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, I had a dream, but it wasn't a dream. It was more than that. It was a spiritual experience. And I dreamt that I'd gotten on a train. And Alice Howell was there, as was her master teacher, who I still to this date have a picture of in my office, M, and a number of other people. And they welcomed me and said, you are a part of this lineage, and we welcome you to the circle. And we're so glad you're getting together with Alice and realize you're part of a much greater whole. And it was just, I get goosebumps remembering it. And then that was complete, and Alice went out, and I knew she was going to the back of the train, the back of the car, to be on the balcony with her beloved Walter, who was in spirit. And I saw them on the back of the train, and I went the other direction to the next car, opened it up, and it was like a club car that was like a bar. And there were all these people there, and there were all these animals there as well, dressed up like people. And I loved it because it's like I've always believed in the oneness of all life and that the animals have soul too. And so this is neat. And I'm standing there, and then a rhinoceros comes up to me in a top hat. A rhinoceros. That's not ever been on my list of favorite special totem animals, and he was in a suit and a top hat, and was just this amazing presence. And then the dream ended. And I went back and I shared with Alice the dream that I'd had. And she said, I believe that. She said, I feel very much called to have been your fairy godmother because we do have this important soul link. And you have a link with M, you have a link, and it will continue long after I return to spirit and when you return to spirit. And so wonderful. And then I tucked it away and didn't think about it for several years. And then Larry Berry, who you all know, that used to come to Unity, he lives down in Portland now, the Portland area. And he invited me to come to a Jungian dream workshop. So I go to that. Janet Dowlett was in charge of the Jung Association then. And so she and I really clicked, and Larry said, would you like to be part of it? And I said, I don't think I have all the qualifications of the hours in the study. And he said, no, he said, Janet asked if you would like to become a part of it, but you have to go through an interview. So I said, okay, I'll do that. So I went to an interview with Janet and a couple of other people. And we talked about, she had a concern. She said, oh, if you're a new thought, do you only do work with good stuff and affirm and totally ignore the shadow? Because if you do, you're not the right person for this group. And so I said, I believe the divine is present in everything. And so we talked and all of this, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get in or not and wasn't attached to it one way or another. And then I looked up, and on a bookshelf right behind her was a beautiful statue. It was about that big. Guess what it was? A rhinoceros. And I was like, oh, I said, that is beautiful. It just drew me. It was made of stone, and it turned out she'd gotten it in Africa. And I said, oh, the rhinoceros. I said, that is so beautiful. I said, I've come to love rhinoceroses because of this dream that I had with regards to Alice Howell. And I said, one of the things that I learned is that it's actually the divine presence, the unicorn, the Christ energy in a very dense embodied form. And I said, so it's about being fully embodied, but also holding the divinity, even when you're kind of gnarly looking. And she looked at me and she said, just a minute. And she pulled out the rough draft copy of her latest book that was about the path of the rhino as exactly what I was talking about. And she said, okay, we've got our symbol here, the rhino. And she said, we would love to have you be a part of the Jungian group. And so I studied with her and with the group for several years. And then when she was getting ready to make her transition, I was blessed to have her entrust me to come and to talk to her about my experiences, my beliefs around the realm that was yet to come. All of that tied together with a dream. Who'd have thunk it? All of us get little tidbits. I usually don't get big ones like rhinos, but we get little tidbits all along the way. Spirit is always whispering in your ear what will benefit you, which way to go, how to respond to things. It's up to us to be willing to invite this dream world of symbols and possibilities to come and be present with us so that we can encounter them with the reverence that lets them reveal themselves. Because for all of us, the realm of dreaming is another one of those practices as a way to seek the sacred. It takes us out of the boxes of the outer world into the inner realm of possibility, of creativity, of beingness, of manifesting, because we know everything starts within and then expresses outward. There's a Jungian analyst that she mentioned, Stephen Eisenstadt, and he has written a book that's called Dream Tending. I love that term, dream tending. It's how do you tend to the garden of your dreams? Do you water it? Do you nurture it? Do you allow the blossoms to open on their own when it's time? And I love that phrase. There are different ways to tend dreams. There are times where you're tending your dream field and you may not see the blossom yet. There are other times where you see the sprout and others where the blossom opens up and you have an aha rhino moment. But dream tending is that hospitality and that reverence. Tend your dream time like you tend your outer life. It's a huge part of your day, this nighttime world of dreams. And he says, when you're looking at dream tending, look at three things. Who is visiting? What's happening? And what is the desire or the insight that's emerging from the dream? So who's present with you? What's going on? And what is the gift that the dream's desire is to give to you? And so open to trust the spiritual realm of dreams. We'll be looking at Joseph of the Old Testament and the New and how they encountered dreams. And so we'll be going more into the power and presence of dreams, but open to receive the gifts, because it truly is the field, the garden, where superconsciousness and subconsciousness meet, and then what grows from that is your conscious life. So have fun tending your dreams this coming week, and know the presence of the divine is always with you, awake or asleep, always present. Blessings to you and to your dream world this week. May you have wonders revealed, and may it come with peace and with grace. Thank you.